Go for Donny.
Group apartment for Donny.
Go for Donny.
Or go for Donny.
Go for Donny.
Mark for Donny. Go for Donny.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Go for Donny. I'm your host, Donny, and today we've got returning fan favorite back in the hot seat, Mark Jacobs right here. Mark and I have been through enough production chaos together that we don't even need full sentences anymore. We've worked on shows where the plan went out the window before breakfast, and somehow we still made it to air. If you missed Mark's first appearance, please go back and listen because there are some crazy freaking stories, and it kind of went off the rails in the best way. I think some of my favorite stories were about you and Danny Bonaducci and all the fucking shenanigans that happened. So I know you've got a few more good stories in you. But before we get into it, I think I'm going to start first because I got a great story. I want everyone to stay tuned for Switch to Channel 2, where we're going to get to know Mark a little bit better and see what he's been up to, because it sounds like he's got some shit going on, and also the direction of the industry and friends and what's happening. So first of all, Mark, how the fuck you doing? Welcome back to Go for Donny.
Yeah, man. Wow. It's good to be here.
I know. It's so good to see you back. You know, you are my first returning guest. You are number one, my friend.
Wow. And you said fan favorite. I find that hard to believe, bro. Come on.
Oh, man. Don, I've had a lot of people say shit about the stories, and I'm like, that is Mark Jacobs. He's got the crazy stories.
Well,
I mean,
you've got more crazy. I've watched some of your other podcasts, bro. It's pretty good. It's pretty damn good.
That's what I love about it, because the stories just don't stop. So I want to start with one. I've been thinking about this for a while, and I've been wanting to share it. I was working on a documentary. God, now I can't even remember the documentary. It's about a guy that was flying drugs, back in the day from down in South America, back and dropping them off in Louisiana and Arkansas. So working on this documentary, we have a producer and an AC that's going out to film some B-roll. And so they went to a federal penitentiary in Florida where they were supposed to get some footage, and they had, this liaison. Everything's supposed to be set up. Well, I get a frantic phone call, and it's the AC. He's kind of freaking out. And I'm like, what's going on? Well, it turns out, I can't name any producers or names or anything, but that producer did not follow up. I know. The producer did not follow up with their contact at the federal prison. And so they just drove right in to a secure area with their camera, with all their gear, and then they got stopped. And they're already inside the secure area where they shouldn't have been in the first place. And so they were pissed. Like the feds were like, what are you doing here? What are you recording? And this producer tried to backpedal, and try to say she had to set up with this person, and they didn't. And the person got involved and reached out to me because I was kind of the point of contact. And they were like, I don't know what's going on. We never set this up. This person shouldn't be here. And they wanted to take the camera. They wanted to take all the footage. I think they did. And it took a minute to get it back. But for a hot minute, they were fucked, like properly. And that's the first time I've ever got a phone call like that where I had some crew doing something stupid where they shouldn't have been doing. I mean, it's just crazy how some people think and some people don't. So lesson learned, kids, don't go to a federal penitentiary with a camera in a secure parking lot because you're going to get busted.
Unless you're on a public sidewalk.
I mean, the shit that you have to deal with, in production, when you have to really... Because, what I do, I set things up as a production manager, as a line producer. I'm setting shoots up. I'm getting them the contact, I'm getting them the gear. So it kind of falls on me. So when someone doesn't do their job, it kind of bothers me because, I have to have all my ducks in a row.
Yeah.
And if I don't, things either happen. No, I'm sorry. If I don't, things don't happen. And when things don't happen, that means that camera's not rolling and, time is money. So that's my little fun rant and story to start off this episode with you. So I know you got some great stories, Mark,
Yeah, it's so funny. I was sitting here thinking, I've got a legacy, like old story from my news days that I'd love to share, which is pretty cool. In my old life, if you will. I was in Las Vegas and chief photographer for the NBC affiliate in Vegas, KVBC at the time. And this reporter and I His name was Rick Kirkham. And this is the guy that was on, I think it was a Netflix show a while ago about the tiger. And
Tiger King?
yeah, so he's the guy. He's the Tiger King. He's the guy in the hat.
Whoa.
Who was documenting.
Oh, no
everything.
shit.
So that's Rick Kirkham. And Rick was just this reporter, local reporter. I'm a local, photographer for a TV station, affiliate. And we did some of the most craziest stories. We did such crazy stories that he ended up getting a job on Inside Edition and became the senior correspondent on the West Coast for Inside Edition. But all the stuff he did was just crazy, rantic, jumping off buildings, jumping off moving cars, driving race cars at Long Beach Grand Prix. Breathe. I'm taking your note. Breathe.
Right?
I don't smoke weed though anymore.
Center.
So we did a lot of drug busts together. We did a lot of court stories where people would get busted, and I would shoot the entire trial. And we were invited to like death row on this guy who killed his daughter in a hot scalding water, and we went and interviewed him on death row in Carson City. We were the first and last television crew to ever do that on death row. Interviewed him in the cell. So I can say safely I was on death row.
Holy shit.
And so we came out of that and we ran into this group at the North Las Vegas Police Department. And they were these drug enforcement guys. And at that time, the west side of Las Vegas was just, drugged out. I mean, there was crack, cocaine, weed, you name it, it was there. The west side of Las Vegas is predominantly black. And so North Las Vegas is in that area specifically. And they would go into the west side and they would do these drug busts, or they do these reverse stings where they'd go into a house, bust everybody, and then come in the house and leave the porch light on, meaning they're open for business. People would come up to buy drugs and they'd snatch them, they'd transfer money, and then they'd arrest them. So we would go and we would sit in the undercover van with the sergeant of the squad. Sergeant Bradley was his name. And we would shoot these things. So this one night, I'm in the back of this van, undercover van. I'm sitting right behind the driver's seat. Sergeant Bradley's in the driver's seat. He's got the radio there. And they do a reverse sting. And I'm on sticks in between the two front seats shooting through a curtain. So all you see is you can't even see the lens because it's black. But I'm shooting through the front windshield of the van. And all these people walk up. They're busting them. They're parading them out, throwing them in a paddy wagon, taking them off to Northtown jail. And then all of a sudden, and this was when the UNLV Rebels had won the national championship.
Ooh, yeah.
And Tarkanian was known for taking guys that were from JCs, junior colleges, and training them up to be some of the greatest players in basketball, like Larry Johnson, Stacey Ogman, going back to Glenn Gondazak and Eddie Owens and all these fantastic players. Reggie Theus was one of his players.
Wow.
And so this big tall guy walks up to the door to buy drugs. And I'm rolling on the whole thing, right? And knocks on the door opens, goes inside. We don't hear anything. I've got all that on tape. They were shooting on tape back then, Beta SP. And so crazy. And then on the radio, we hear Sarge. He's like, go ahead. You're not going to believe who we got. He's like, who? Don't tell me. And he goes, Lloyd Daniels. So I don't know if you know who Lloyd Daniels was, but Lloyd Daniels was the #1 basketball prospect out of high school. Not very well educated, didn't graduate, but Tark gobbled him up because of his talent.
Wow.
And they arrested him that night. And he was the new recruit that Tarkanian had just signed or just recruited to UNLV. And at the time, UNLV was going through all of this like alumni crap where the alumni was accused of giving them money and betting and all this stuff. And now, of course, they can be sponsored and there's all kinds of stuff.
I know it's crazy we were on today. NIL.
It's so nuts. And so I shoot that. The next thing I know, of course, that video went global because of Tarkanian, because of Las Vegas, because of UNLV, because of the national championship, because it was Lloyd Daniels, biggest prospect in our country for basketball at the time.
Jesus.
Yeah, and it was weird because for a long time there, you kind of like you find yourself in those situations that affect people's lives in not the best of ways. And if I wasn't there, it probably wouldn't have been as known. It would have been known he got arrested, I'm sure.
Right.
But to have the video of it's a completely different story. So I'm not saying it was guilt because he did the crime, right? He's got to pay for it. But at the end of the day, you kind of, as a journalist and as a photojournalist, you kind of think about, what happens in the wake of those conditions to those people. And I didn't start thinking that way until after I was out of news. Because then you kind of look back at your career. I was in news for 30 years.
How long did you? 30 years.
I started as a television studio camera operator at 14. And then I jumped into news when I was about 20. And I got out of the Army and I was like, I'm going back to news. My dad tried to get me in the casino business. And I was like, I don't want anything to do with that. Smoke, breathing smoke all day. People spitting in your face because they lose. Yeah, it's no fun. And so I went to news and decided, I'm going to get shot with rubber bullets and tear gassed on the streets of LA during the 2000, Democratic convention. That's another story, getting shot with rubber bullets.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So it's like that moment in time was huge. We won a bunch of awards for it, but you're kind of like, man, what awards for this guy's demise, Anyways, skip ahead. This same team had a thing called the Northtown Nasty Boys. So the Northtown Nasty Boys were about 10 guys that would dress up in ninja outfits. And they had police on their back, police on their front, but they wore a mask. And they were literally head to toe in a ninja outfit. And they would go and bust people. And they had to stay clandestine because they couldn't give away who they were. And I got to ride with these guys on so many busts. We'd pull up. They'd slide the door open to the van. They'd all jump out. I'd be right behind them with a flak jacket on. And if there were bars on the doors and windows, they'd rip them off. They'd hook up a chain, pull it off with the van. We'd go in. We'd find crack and coke and all kinds of stuff in babies, in a baby's diaper on the baby.
God.
Or guys trying to flush us. I have a video. I'll have to share it with you so you could show
it. Please. So was this their SWAT team?
It wasn't a SWAT team. It was their narcotics team. So we did all these stories on these guys. And I have this great picture of all of them in their outfits. It's all signed to Mark and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, they got so big that NBC did a series for 2 seasons called The Nasty Boys. Look it up.
What?
Called The Nasty Boys on NBC.
Seriously. And so what year was that then? Was that like a prelude to
we're talking 1980, probably 88.
Oh, so it was
89.
So it's a total prelude to all the Catch a Predator, Dateline, all that shit.
Oh, dude, Cops wasn't even out yet. So that show shot in Vegas for 2 seasons. They were there for almost a year and a half shooting that show. And Sergeant Bradley ended up being an advisor on the show. So the story gets so much better. So the reporter, Rick Kirkham, right? Unbeknownst to me, Sergeant Bradley says, "Hey, bud, you ever tried crack?" He's like, "No, I'm a reporter." It's like, "Well, we're cops and we have to try it so that we know what it feels like in the people that we're going." Yeah, dude, it was
Jesus.
So, and I can say all this because it's 30 years ago. Well, he tries it. He gets hooked on crack.
No.
So
what the fuck?
Rick was probably one of the biggest egos. And I had a huge chip on my shoulder too, but he was one of the greatest reporters I ever worked with. We did a whole recruitment tape for the Metro Police Department that was like Miami Vice, but done in Vegas. Had all the music and the whole bit, and recruited a lot of cops. And so Rick, unbeknownst to me, also saved every one of my field tapes. So when we come back from a story, he would log the interviews. Then he would write the script. He'd give me the script. I'd go in edit bay and I would cut the stories. And I had all the B-roll. Then he would keep the tape for his escape tape, his resume tape, so he could go back and edit a real cool open or add to a story or whatever it was, especially live shots, right? Well, he kept every single field tape that he ever had worked on a story with any photographer, not just me. 24-foot U-Haul trucks of tapes, Beta SP, 3/4 inch, VHS tapes, right? He saved them all in this huge storage unit. So he leaves Channel 3, goes to Inside Edition, mind you, hooked on drugs, interviews President Ford. The night before he interviews President Ford, he's looking for crack on the street, buys crack, comes back, grinds it up, does what he ever does, a little glass pipe and all that stuff, shoots himself doing it.
Oh my God.
Then turns it into a movie called TV Junkie. Look it up. So I don't talk to this guy, right? The last time I saw him was like 90. I left Channel 3 and went over to the CBS affiliate. Still chief photographer at the CBS affiliate too, as well as Channel 3. And he leaves and goes Inside Edition. His career blows up. He's doing all this crazy stuff, right? Michael Jackson, Elizabeth Taylor, and Fortensky got married at Michael Jackson's old place here in LA, outside of LA. So he calls me up. He's like, Mark, what are you doing this weekend? I'm like, nothing. He goes, you want to fly in a helicopter? We're going to go shoot the wedding at Michael Jackson. You really? Who for? He goes, yeah, I'm doing it for Inside Edition. So we're flying in a helicopter, right? Orbiting Michael Jackson's ranch. And there's like 4 or 5 other helicopters doing the same thing. We're all going counterclockwise. The pilot of our helicopter, a little light in his loafers, but he was hysterical and was an amazing pilot. And we're flying all counterclockwise and we're not getting it. And they're about to walk from one gazebo to another to get married, right? Elizabeth Taylor and Fortensky. Oh, yeah. And Jackson's going to be walking with them. And we're like, we got to do something. So what did we do? I tell the pilot, go against traffic. Let's go clockwise while everybody's going counterclockwise. That'll give us a different perspective. So he flips it. I go to the other side of the helicopter and I'm shooting with a thing called a gyro zoom.
You're shooting out of the side of it. Nice.
Yeah, door open with a gyro zoom, this huge lens that had a gyroscope in it. And we get the only shot of Michael Jackson, Elizabeth Taylor, and Fortensky walking between the gazebos. And of course, when we got on the ground, everybody wanted the footage. Well, that was during his time at Inside Edition. Well, he kept all those tapes too.
Wow.
So in 2008, I'm here. I've already done Bonaducci. I'm doing a bunch of shows. And then all of a sudden, I started getting my film, Jesse's Story, in the festivals in 2009. And so I'm really into the festival circuit as well as directing and doing all the other stuff, trying to push my film. And all of a sudden his film comes up and I'm like, what? Rick Kirkham? TV Junkie? What? So I watched the trailer and it's in the trailer. There's a shot of me putting the flak jacket on to go in with the Nasty Boys. So what is this about? So I call him up. I get a hold of him and he's like, yeah, man. He goes, we're doing the premiere at the festival, the AFI festival, and we're going to be at the Cinerama, the old ArcLight on Sunset. And so I went up, and I hadn't seen him in, 20 years, 25 years at that time. He's not on crack anymore. But, dude,
good.
His face, he was like, it took every bit of life out of this guy.
Wow.
So I watched the film, one of the most, probably the most disturbing film I had ever seen, because he had saved all those tapes and he recorded himself doing what he was doing. His relationship with his wife at the time, the mother of his kids, the relationship with his kids, all the things that he did wrong that were not good, he put in the film. And the film's available. You can watch the film. It is hard to watch. And it's called TV Junkie. It came out in 2006.
2006.
Yep. And man, And then shortly after that, he did the Tiger King or whatever. I was just like, this guy never stops.
Oh wait, so we were talking about. So he did actually do the Tiger King as well. I need to find that.
And
That's because you've seen that, right?
He
It's fucking nuts.
He lives in Norway. He doesn't even live in the United States anymore. He got out of the country after that film ran through its its festivals, and then he did the Tiger King. He was like, I'm getting out of here. And I'm still friends with him on Facebook. He's still around. It's crazy,
That's
dude.
great.
He's doing.
He's
in
still alive.
2022, he was on camera for a movie called The Last Mark. Because I looked him up on IMDb, and he's still doing stuff. So that's good. Still alive.
That is fucking nuts. So was Rick Pizzante at Inside Edition back then, or did you even?
I didn't.
You
even
just
know.
you
didn't
didn't
know.
work.
Oh, he hired me as a freelancer. It was so funny, dude, because when he picked me up at the airport at LAX, because I flew in from Vegas, I'm coming down the escalator, and he's shooting me on his little Hi8 camera. And so when I watched the movie, I was expecting to see that in the movie. It wasn't in the movie. I was just like, after I heard he saved air, because he taped everything. He always ran around with a little camera shooting stuff. I was like, what are you doing? He goes, I'm just capturing my life. I'm like, okay. Yeah,
wow.
It was crazy,
that's
dude.
Pretty fucking nuts, man. So I can't believe, I still can't believe you were in the news for 30 years. And I totally forgot that you started running a camera at 14 in the studio, which is.
Yeah, I used to sneak over
amazing.
to the NAB, because the NAB's always been in Vegas, right? And I would just walk in like I owned the place as this little kid, like I was some guy's, executive guy's kid that was allowed to be there. And the security wasn't that bad when I was 14. It was no big deal. But all the major TV cameras and all the grip equipment, all the stuff that was there, I would grab all these catalogs, right? And as us men do, we tend to use the restroom sitting down, and we read books. I would read all the equipment catalogs. I would read the Gordon, the Matthews, all the
Holy
jibs,
shit,
the cranes. Oh, bro. That was my childhood. I just loved gear. I wasn't a gearhead, but I would like make stuff up. But I would go up to these, like the RCA booth when RCA was making studio cameras. They made the RCA TK76 with this huge shoulder camera that I actually shot with when I got in the news. And then they had another one called TK46, which is a huge studio camera. And I'd walk up, and they'd have these huge sets, beautifully lit, and all the different cameras. And you could go up and try the cameras and look at the scopes and look at the monitor, much like they do now at the NAB. And I walk up, and I'm just handling it. I'm zooming in, focusing, zooming out. I'm panning. I'm trucking around. I'm petting up, petting down. And this guy from the company, the sales guy, come up to me, goes, how do you know how to do all that stuff? Well, I work at the CBS affiliate. I'm 14.
He's like, wait a second. Do you even have your license, son?
Nope.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
They throw me the keys to a newsman and tell me, Mark, can you, on a weekend, because there were no weekend news photographers, they go, hey, can you go shoot a fire? I'm like, I can't even drive, but sure. But my dad taught me how to drive pretty young, and I would go and shoot. I'd go drive to the scene, open up the door, grab the camera, and go shoot a fire and bring it back.
Man, I wish I would have gotten into this earlier at 14. I mean, we had, cameras when we were kids, and I really wish I had access to those, tapes, because they're so stupid.
Oh,
probably
man.
really bad. But I can't believe that dude kept all that shit, all those tapes.
2 U-Haul trucks. It's in the film.
That's nuts.
They show it. The guy that produced it was like, we got to do something with this, Rick. And Rick's like, I don't know what to do. And he's like, well, just tell your story. Really? And he goes, yeah, well, you're not doing crack anymore. Why don't you tell us your story? You shot yourself smoking crack before you interviewed the president of the United States. That could be a good movie.
That's fucking, so that's in there that he did.
That's the only reason I'm talking about it, is because it's in there. I'm not afraid to share that, because it's in the film. It was, dude, and it shows him. He's like, he's in Washington. He's in Georgetown, and he's in a hotel. And he leaves,
what
and
year
he comes
was this?
back. Oh gosh,
maybe he got hooked up by Marion Barry back then. Maybe they both had the same guy.
I don't know.
Sorry for all of you that don't know Marion Barry. Marion Barry,
deep dive.
He was the mayor of Washington D.C. not just once but twice. And the first time he got into a little trouble for doing some crack
Just a little.
while on just a little while on duty. And I can't believe do you think that's a common practice for police departments to have their
I have heard of it before.
officers do that?
I've heard of it before. I don't know that it's necessarily true. And that story was not one that was in the film. It was one that I was told also. I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, you're around it enough. I mean, PCP, if you touch it, it gets in your bloodstream. It comes through your pores, your skin, and that can do you in as well. That's why most police now, when they're not in the car, the first thing they do, they're putting gloves on. And obviously they don't want to touch people that may be diseased or whatever. But a lot of times they'll ask if you have anything in your pockets that's going to, sharp, that's going to cut me before they go into a pocket, and I wouldn't trust their answer, because if I had something in my pocket in case I got, pulled over, or if I was doing something wrong, why would I tell a cop, yeah, there's something in my pocket that's going to cut you? What's it doing there in the first place? Just feel for it. But yeah, no, it's I don't know if that's actually a practice. It's seen in movies, obviously, but yeah, man. And that's one of, that's what I want to talk about later, because that's really what drove me to where I'm at today. Not the crack, crazy. Not the crack cocaine.
Of course not. But have you done anything? Have you followed any cops or anything like Cops or any of those other?
Yeah, I worked with LaPlante on the first season of Cops. I was one of the guys.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I was one of the camera guys. Very short lived. I filled in a hole. They had a guy that fell out, and they asked if I would come on board, and they shot it in Vegas. And LaPlante was one of the camera operators now. I mean, not now, but he grew into one of the executive producers of the show. So he was with the show from its infancy.
Was Tom Cunningham on that too?
I think so, yeah.
I think he did. A few of the guys that I worked with, I did Surviving the Cut and 2 Weeks in Hell. Yeah. Surviving the Cut was a great show on, I think it was just the Discovery History, about all the elite, excuse me, all the elite military schools. Yeah. And so we'd send guys, it would be like a 2-person team, camera and producer, camera, and then audio. And these guys, the shit that they were capturing and having to do with these recruits in these schools were amazing.
Yeah.
And they were so fit too. I mean, I can't imagine, because even on Cops or anything, when you're following with the camera, like you're looking down the pike and you don't see behind you or around you. So you have to be really nimble and be able to pick your feet up and not fall and follow and not fall.
Well, yeah, I think one of the things that I take away that I still use today, and I use it a lot when I'm asked to kind of like, our church is very vulnerable. And so they've asked me to kind of wear radio sometimes and just be on the, cusp, kind of like a, UC undercover, but not because of my size. I mean, I'm 6'5", I'm a big dude, but more about, just being able to anticipate people, read people. And I think as a journalist, especially I was trained in reconnaissance when I was in the military. So you learn really quick how to read somebody across the room, or anticipate what they may be thinking based on a conversation you have with them, whether or not they're going to be planning on something, or if they're a little sketchy. Why are they sketchy? Why are you keeping an eye on them? Why do they stand out? And I think that all comes from less of my military time and more of my time as a journalist, because you stand in a courtroom for 6 to 8 hours a day, going through a whole court case and hearing the psychological numbnuts that these people that, do these crimes, whether it's murder, DUI, whatever it is, killing people, robbing, burglaring, whatever it is, you start to get a feel for that caliber, not judging them, but understanding their makeup. And a lot of it comes from their childhood. And so you start to really understand the psychological. It's why when I did OCD Project and did the show OCD for A&E, I ended up doing a lot of Bonaducci, a lot of psychological shows. And with some of the shows, they weren't necessarily psychological. Bonaducci wasn't. It was about him and his wife and his kids. Basketball Wives wasn't. But the personalities that are on those shows are a little crazy. And you have to, as a director, or even as a DP or both, you have to really be able to know when you're about to put your foot in the mouth with somebody like that, and how that. I worked with Tiana Taylor, who just won the Golden Globe. I did the pilot for her show on MTV. Amazing woman. But, oh, bro, she's from New York. So you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
know to step cautiously, watch what you're saying. Don't try to be the white guy speaking black speak, trying to be cool, trying to fit in, because so many people do that. Oh, man, it's like, whoa, that's not how you normally talk. What are you doing? Just be yourself, right? And I'm something we'll share later too. There's a reason why Joe Lewis is on the wall behind me, which we'll get into. My partners of 14 years are his nephews. And I've been welcomed into the family because of all the time that I've spent with them, but how I've spent my time and how I've dialogued with them. And so I really credit my experience in news, not only just for the opportunity to travel the world, cover wars, all that stuff, and do the crazy story that I just told you about. But I think more than anything, just to know how humans tick, how to anticipate what they're going to do next.
You said observing, and I think that's really good because you kind of learn that trait, or you hone that craft when you're in the Army.
Yeah.
And as a cinematographer, as a journalist, you still observe. You observe human nature,
Yeah.
What they're doing, how they're acting, and you can really think on your feet too. You're fast,
Yeah.
right? So I think that helps you in what you do, and with journalists and photojournalists and camera operators, because you're following what's happening. You have to anticipate. Right? It's anticipation. Every good camera operator that I know, you're anticipating what's going to happen next. So that way you're not being told, hey, fucking get that shot. It's like you're already getting that shot.
You're already
so you're anticipating.
And that, to be honest with you, it kind of nipped me in the butt too. It's like on Bonaducci, I'd just come out of news. First show out of news was Bonaducci. Crazy.
It's not.
And I brought guys from my station in San Diego who wanted to come up.
That's right.
So they knew how to anticipate and read people. Hadn't done it as long, but they had that in them. And so for me, it was like I would anticipate what Danny was going to do next, because he never told anybody. He just did it. And so I'd have a camera there waiting for it. I would say, like, if we're chasing him through the house, A cam's on him. I've got B cam already ready to receive on where I'm thinking, through anticipating his action, what door he's going to go to. And lo and behold, he'd be at that door. The next thing I know, I got an executive breathing down my neck going, dude, it looks staged. It looks like you just staged that. Like he told you what he was going to do. I go, dude, you're on the headset. He didn't say anything. It's just, he's a crazy man. You have to live in his shoes. And that's, so you have to kind of like, it didn't happen all the time, but it happened a lot. And I think that was kind of that was the reason why I kept having general meetings. The funny thing is, Ben Stiller, of all people, at the time, calls my agent over at William Morris and says, hey, I want to meet with Mark Jacobs. I'm like, he calls me up and I'm like, what? Ben Stiller? I tell my wife, she's like, really? And I'm like, holy crap. So I go to his office, totally nondescript office, right at the corner of Mulholland and La Brea. And it's a gray building. It's still there. I think he's still in it. And I'm sitting in the waiting room, and here comes Ben walking towards me. And I'm like, is this really happening right now? So we go in the conference room, and it's just Ben and I. And we're just talking. And I'm nervous, I'm not starstruck, but I get nervous because I don't want to say stupid stuff, right? And he's just like, so I'm doing some research on a guy that's kind of like Danny Bonaducci. And that's kind of why I wanted you to come in. I just wanted to get to know how you handled that and what's he all about. I was like, really? So this isn't for a job?
You're like, damn it.
I can't get out of reality and go to film after my first show.
You're like, come on, bro.
Anyways, that was awesome. Meeting him was just like, and just kind of like just so humble and quiet and funny. Just not like his dad. His dad was
Jerry
just
Stiller.
Jerry Stiller was Classic, legendary.
Festivus!
Yeah.
Festivus for the rest of us. No, yeah, he seems like he's very quiet. But that's such a cool thing, like to be called up and like go and meet him just because he wanted to pick your brain.
About Danny Bonaducci of all people. How did you do that?
That's fucking nuts. I bet the military set you all up for that. So that's my segue into any military stories, because I've had a few other friends on that are veterans. And, you know, what I'm trying to do with this Go for Donny is I have another friend that I drove freight trains with in an episode coming up. And I'm trying to do that more and different crafts, because obviously we have some stupid stories. You know, some people are like, you did what? You worked with Paris? Like, what was she like? You know, and all that, you know, to us, it's like just normal. To other people, they're like, what the hell? Well, I think that everybody has some crazy stories that people want to hear in every profession. You know, nurses have some fucking stupid stories. My buddy that drove trains, he has some stupid stories about stuff he had hit or did, or, you know, so we all have these crazy stories from the different times of our lives. The military. I know from my 5 years in, I have some stupid shit that happened to me, especially as a recruit, you know, or like just, I don't know. I was in honor guard, and, you know, there was one time where we were carrying a casket. We were getting ready to go to the mock-up in the church, and the mortician had to stop us. He stopped, and we didn't notice, but he had to lift up and put this guy's hair that was sticking out.
Oh, geez. Oh, no.
Back in the casket. Yeah. And you're just like, what the fuck? You know, you have to be professional. You can't look or do anything. And that was right before we went out. Or like, you know, the you know, gravesite, you know, we have to be very stoic and straightforward. And, you know, you hear that story of that guy that falls into the gravesite, fell into the fucking hole. Well, everyone has to just keep going doing the thing. So it's like crazy shit, you know.
So you had that happen?
So, no, not me personally. The toupee, yes. The toupee, yes. The guy falling in the hole. Yeah, the guy, I'm telling you, we were carrying the casket, and then he stopped us before we went in, and he, I don't know how he saw it because the flag was over it, and he lifted up and put the his hair, the toupee, back in. It was
so it wasn't his hair, it was a toupee.
No. Yeah, it was the toupee of the dead,
the fake hair
veteran. Yeah. Wow. So, you know, shit like that. I mean, there's so many crazy stories, and that's just from the military from my time in the honor guard, one unit. So do you have anything like when you were a recruit, did they fuck with you? Because, here's another one. I played soccer back in the day. I still love it, play it. And I had my Adidas slides, you know?
Yeah.
And back in 90, when I went to basic training, I brought my slides, you know, and, you know, you bring clothes for some stupid reason. And so what they do for all you that have never been to basic training is they do a shakedown. So you get there and everyone's standing in formation straight ahead. You can't fucking look at these drill sergeants. It's called a shark attack, where they go around and they're just chewing you out, anyone looking any way. And the drill sergeant comes up to me and he's like, McGuire, he's like, what are these? I'm like, drill sergeant, those are my thongs. And he looked at me. He's like, McGuire, a thong's something you wear up your ass. Those are your shower shoes. I'm like, yes, drill sergeant. And so ever since then, I never called them thongs again. They're always my shower shoes and my flip-flops. Yeah. So, you know, stupid shit. So do you have anything from your time in basic or when you're active that, you know?
Yeah, I can't beat your toupee story. That's a good one, bro. So yeah, I mean, mine is very similar to what you just described. You know, it's like the first night, because you go through the AFI station, then you go through the station where you get your shots, your haircut, your duffel bag full of clothes, all that stuff. I got sworn in Arizona at the AFI station, and then traveled to Fort Dix, New Jersey, which in June, July is like hell. Just it was brutal. It was hot. It was humid.
You want to talk humidity real quick? Just be real quick. I'm from Washington State. Grew up in Washington State. No humidity. My first time on an airplane to Atlanta, Georgia. Bus to, to Fort Benning, Georgia.
Yeah.
Fort Benning, Georgia. This is August 14th, 1990 to November. Humidity. I didn't know what humidity was, man. I was like, what is it? I can't breathe. Sorry. Yeah. So
no, I get Jersey it. Savannah, Georgia, July to September, same thing. So they put us on the cattle trucks. We get off. Remember the big cattle truck?
Yeah.
It's just like, what the heck is this thing? It's not like some fancy bus you came into the AV station in. It's now you're a piece of
Fucking cattle
You're
truck.
just a piece of meat with a number on
Yeah.
it. And so we go in the barracks. We're sleeping. About 2:00 in the morning, drill sergeant walks through the barracks with a garbage can and a bat, and he's beating on it, and he's just waking everybody, get out of bed, and just some guys are getting out, some guys aren't. Hot as it was just brutally hot and humid. So we get out, we get up, we throw our clothes on, we get down into formation. There's 4 squads to every company. There's 4 companies in every platoon. Every battalion, and then there's 4 squads in a platoon. And so in our platoon, platoon 1, I was on the back. I was in squad 1, which was the back. And first night, 2:00 in the morning, they've got us at attention. Don't move. Don't look around, just like you said. All I did, I literally, I've got my hat on, standing at attention, and my drill sergeant's name, you're going to love this. His name's Sergeant Perky Pile.
Perky Pile?
I actually have my basic training picture right here, so I'll have to show it to you
dude.
later.
Yeah.
So,
please do share it with, and I can put it up. I got mine. We'll put both of them up.
Hysterical. So Sergeant Perky Pile and the first female drill sergeant in Fort Dix, who was assigned to us for the females, we were one of the first to have females. We were the first platoon, first company to not have all your hair cut off. We were the last. We were the last to have our hair cut off. We got back from bivouac, stinky, just disgusting. We walk into the mess hall and everybody's talking. We're like, you're not supposed to talk. We leave for bivouac.
You got time to walk.
Yeah, we leave for bivouac. We come back and the recruits are talking and they have hair and mustaches. We're like, what the heck is going on? Anyways, so I'm standing at formation. All I do is I go like this. That's all I did, just to see where he was. Not seconds later, and he was a paratrooper. Steel toe boots, bam, bam, on the back of my heels, drop. So I'm doing push-ups. And he's like, you're going to do them till I'm tired. I'm like, okay, so I'm just doing these push-ups. This is the first night. I'm not good at push-ups at this point, not yet.
Not yet, yeah.
I stand up, knees locked, throw up, pass out. From that point forward, they didn't know my name. I didn't volunteer for anything. I was in the blue group, which was the elite physical group. And I refused to go there again. And that was the first night. That was like a marker for me. I did not.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, they're trying to recruit me into like Green Beret, Special Forces. They made me a squad leader. I'm like, no, I'm a reservist. I'm 2 years in and I'm good. Yeah. That's my one story that sticks out right now while I was in. We went to like sorority parties when I was in AIT, active individual training from a military occupational skill MLS.
Wait. Let's back up. You did what? You went out while you were in AIT?
Oh yeah. We had weekends off.
That's nuts.
And I was stationed at Fort Belvoir in Alexandria, Virginia, which is right outside of DC. So
I used to play soccer down there.
We would go to the University of Georgetown University, and we'd go to the sorority parties. This second lieutenant who had just re-upped, he was going through AIT with me. We worked out together at the gym. I had 20-inch arms. I was massive. And he's like, dude, let's go to some parties. I go, I don't have a car. He goes, dude, I got a Trans Am. Let's go. So we would go on the weekends. Dude.
Holy wait, what year was this?
1981.
81. So we're 9 years apart, and I don't know, maybe it's different. The infantry, you do basic training.
Oh no, there's no time off.
We had a day off. It's called Family Day. My family didn't come, and I stayed in a hotel for the night. I went and had my first sex on the beach at the NCO club at 18 and about threw up. I'm like, what is this? And then went back to my hotel. And then the next day is AIT, and we didn't have weekends off. It was just back to our barracks, back to Sand Hill. And it was like,
well, you were in infantry
until we were done.
I wasn't in infantry. I was 52 Charlie. So I was running a mobile hospital unit. The power plant. Man. Yeah, it was, dude. I saw the Pope on the mall in Washington, D.C. one weekend. They had this guy, he was probably like, he had to be like 70 then. He owned this big yellow school bus. And on the weekends, he knew all the recruits didn't have transportation and they didn't really want to spend what money we didn't have on a cab to go to DC. So he would take us into DC every weekend to a different place. Like once it was Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Next would be, another weekend would be Andrews Air Force Base. Another weekend would be the Smithsonian Institute. Or if there was a big event like the Pope visiting the mall, which is the space between the monument and the Lincoln Memorial, or no, actually the Capitol, all at Lincoln Memorial, the Capitol is the mall. We'd go and do that. I mean, it was phenomenal. It was like, I saw Iwo Jima, I saw all of the museums, Air and Space, all of them. And
So cool.
yeah, it was really cool. I missed that time. That time really, you know, you have those moments in your life that you kind of wonder, man, should I have stayed in? I mean, I tested to be a firefighter and I made it all the way through, but then I just had the love to be with a camera on my shoulder and be a photojournalist. And I decided not to do it.
Can you imagine? So I was stationed in DC.
Oh, wow.
Downtown DC.
Oh, then you know.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it was, you know, all these places that you talk about, I would either take friends or family when they come to town or run up there and take a look. So it was, or I worked in ceremonies as well. So we did a lot of ceremonies, wreath ceremonies, you know, opening ceremonies of the anything really. So I got to see a lot in DC and it was a lot of fun. Played soccer at Fort Belvoir, played soccer for the Fort Belvoir Eagles. That was our soccer team. Yeah, man. I mean, that was my stomping ground. But I just want to go back to, you mentioned your drill sergeant's name, and I love that you know your drill sergeant's name still.
Oh, yeah.
Because I do as well.
Yep.
Drill Sergeant C, Drill Sergeant Dorsey, and Drill Sergeant Cody. It's like, I don't know. I think they just make such an impact.
Yeah.
You know, on a soldier's life where you don't forget about them. And I got to start asking other friends if they remember their DS's.
That's a good idea.
I'm sure they do.
Oh,
you know,
100%. My nephew called up one day, he was just like, I don't know what I want to do. I've graduated and I want to go to college, but I kind of want to be in the military. So he calls the Air Force recruiter. I'm like, dude, why are you calling the Air Force? He goes, well, should I call the Marines? No, don't call the Marines. Just call the Army. Army's great. He goes, well, yeah, you were in the Army. I go, yeah, dude, I'll help you as my dad helped me. And he went in and he killed it. And like my dad said, don't volunteer. At the end of basic training, if they don't know what your name is, then you have succeeded. They didn't know his name. They're like,
yep.
So you're graduating today? He's like, yeah. He goes, how come I don't know your name? He's like, because I never got in trouble.
Closed mouth gathers no foot. Yes,
exactly. My dad used to, my other dad, where I get the Jacobs name, used to say, dummy up, eyes open, ears open, mouth shut.
That's funny. That's true.
It's true.
But you know, it's so, but I mean, I the same way. I didn't want them knowing my name at all. Same thing when I got to my unit, my first unit. It's like, you know, I would go out the window, the back way to go to the bathroom. So I didn't have to go down the hall where all the NCOs were. So they'd fuck with me, you know, out of sight, out of mind. I mean, those are the things you got to do. And in today's Army, you know, it's a lot different from the time we were in. There are more jobs you can do that translate to civilian life.
My nephew got to call home on weekends during basic training.
Shut up.
Christmas came up while he was in basic training. Guess where he was for Christmas? At home.
What?
During basic
He wasn't
training.
11 Bravo. Wasn't 11 Bravo,
No,
right?
it was just basic training. No, he went, originally he was combat medic, but he switched to MOS. Now he's done mobile satellite technology. But yeah, I was like, are you kidding me? Why are you home? He's home for a week.
I'm blown away. You know, I don't know, it's a handful of years ago, we were in Vegas and we met some kid. I think he was in his blues and he was, and I said something to him about his ribbons weren't lined up right. And so we're talking, you know, because I'm always like, oh, and he's like, he has a cell phone and he's talking about, oh yeah, as soon as you get there, you get a cell phone. You know, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know, obviously we didn't have cell phones.
No,
you know, back then, but just today's Army, it's a different day. But hey, guys, I want to remind everybody that this podcast is not only an audio podcast, so you can catch it on rss.com or Spotify or Amazon Music or Apple, iPod, whatever, Apple Podcasts. That's the one I was trying to say. This is also a video podcast, and it's on my YouTube channel at Go for Donny Mark. So everyone, you can come to my channel. You can check out this episode, Mark's first episode, about 22 other episodes. And I also have another podcast that pairs up with this. It's called Switch to Channel 2, which we will be going to next. And that's where we're going to get to know Mark a little bit more. And he's going to tell us some other stories. And we're going to talk about the industry and, just some fun stuff. So please check it out. And I also have a website, gofordonny.com. You can come there, get some swag if you want. I'm wearing my Go for Donny shirt today and my sweatshirt because it's cold in here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a new day. It's not. I don't have to have the air conditioning on around here. It's
82
like,
here right now.
82. Man, I'm just
January.
getting acclimated. Oh shit! I'll be back someday. Well, Mark, I can't thank you enough for coming on and sharing a couple more stories, stupid stories, and I look forward to chatting some more about what you've been doing since we talked last, and then the industry as well, and what you think's going on, and let's get it out there so that way all of our colleagues know, to have a little faith and keep forging on. So
cool.
Anything else there, Mr. Jacobs?
No, man. I just love sitting and chatting with you. It just brings up a lot of memories and stuff. It's good. I hope people actually listen and get something out of it. Cause you'll find out when you go to the other channel, you'll find out how that's come into play. You start thinking
when you switch to channel 2, when you reach back and switch that to channel 2 and listen to our chatter, you're going to find out exactly what we're talking about. So, well, hey, just remember what my mother-in-law always says, Mark. Harden the fuck up. Hashtag HTFU. And we can talk more about that on Switch Channel 2. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Appreciate you too. Man. All right, bud.
Later, man.
Production for Donny.
Go for Donny. Locations for Donny. Go for Donny.
Habitat for Donny.
Go for Donny. Hey, Donny, what the hell are they doing?